Hey, everybody. Welcome to ProBROknow, the podcast. Three brothers, three opinions, and one topic.
Correct.
And today's topic, I think we're going to talk about minimum wage, first jobs.
Welcome to the workforce.
Employment opportunities.
Yeah.
Yeah, our first experiences in the workforce.
Yeah, there's
right.
many.
Let's dive in. Okay, so welcome everyone. Chad, Wade.
Hello,
Spencer.
Yeah. How you doing?
Very
good.
well. Very good.
Nice.
How you doing, Chad?
I'm doing well, Wade. Thank you for asking. I know that you really care about how I'm doing today.
I do care immensely, Chad. And how are you doing, Spence?
I am doing wonderful today
Wonderful.
Why are you so wonderful today?
because I can't wait to talk about this topic.
Okay.
Well, then you should start.
Yeah.
I'm going to start. That's why the camera's on
Well,
me.
then,
Wade.
well,
Could
then,
you just get going?
well,
Well,
then
that's
do
why
it.
the camera's on me. So if you would stop talking,
Do it. Do it now.
I'll start going.
Get
Okay.
starting.
So yeah, we're going to talk about first
Do it.
jobs and the foray into the workforce. And so Wade with the whole "just do it."
No, it's more of a do it.
Okay, well, there'd be someone who worked at Nike, but I don't think you worked at Nike.
It's not Nike. Get to the chopper. Anyway, go ahead.
So talking about first jobs, I know we've all had some doozies.
Yes.
Wade's was kind of comical. He was so excited when he got hired at A&W in the food court.
That was your first real career job, right, Wade?
No, actually, no. Career job. No, my first job when I was
against A&W.
No, when
of
I
course.
well, we're talking paper routes or
No,
jobs.
I think jobs. Yeah.
Yeah.
I worked at Lorison Chemicals in London when I was in the summer of grade 9. I worked for the whole summer, making $3 an hour packing pool kits.
So it was an upgrade to work at A&W.
It was an upgrade. Yeah,
How bad was Lori Chemicals?
I got a promotion to go to A&W.
Wow.
What'd you do there, Wade?
At A&W?
No, Lorison Chemicals or whatever you call it.
I packed pool kits. I took chlorine and put it in little boxes and taped them up, and that was my job for the whole summer.
Wow.
$3 an hour, but I was rich. I was making $120 a week.
And you're like, sorry, I'm gonna have to quit. I've got an offer of $3.10 an hour at A&W.
Now you're exaggerating.
It was like
Spence.
I gotta go because
305.
these teen burgers are calling.
It was $4 an hour to start at A&W,
Whoa.
and it was the
You were a
A&W.
manager. You were a manager.
Team leader it was called.
Yeah.
Team leader.
Team leader. Alpha Charlie Bravo. Team leader 1 over.
The teen burgers were in the oven. Over. Yeah. It was Masonville Mall, A&W. The first, I think it was Masonville Mall had just opened at the time. So I was cooking burgers, and I remember I wanted to graduate at some point to the front counter so I could.
Right, customer
Not-
service is the big upgrade.
Yeah. So.
You went up to what, like $4.15? If you got
Well,
that
I was
job?
there. I was there for 4 years total, and when I started, I was making $4 an hour.
Sure.
And when I left A&W 4 years later,
405.
I was making no. Wait for it, $4.70 an hour.
Whoa.
I got 10-cent raises. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yep.
Did you even notice that on your paycheck, or was it just like?
Well, after taxes took like 5 cents of it, so it was like $4.05 an hour.
I'm just wondering, like, when did you get the call from corporate that they were looking for people like you? Yes.
Well, when I graduated to the front and I could use the microphone, I'd be like, need a teen burger, need a fry. It was, that was the best part. I remember actually working in the back and smelling like onion and just gross. Like I could peel the grease off my face. Nothing against
more
A&W.
so than normal, or
Well, I was a teenager, so I probably had a lot of grease on my face anyway. But nothing against A&W because it was good. It was good food.
Yeah.
But I remember working there and then taking the bus home, and it was like free advertising for A&W on the bus because you just reeked like onion rings and burgers.
I just want to know, did you get a lot of dates working at, smelling like a teen burger when you came home?
Not so many
Rings,
dates.
onion rings?
Not so many dates working at A&W. No, I can't say that I did. Yeah. How about you, Chad? What was your first?
My first
Well, you called it career job. So your first career job.
My first career job. I don't even know. It was probably working as a prep cook at a restaurant as well, actually.
A prep cook. What restaurant?
I think it was called Orlando's. Yeah. It was a little place. It was kind of in the industrial park out of Consortium Court out there. And it was just a little cafe. And I really knew nothing about nothing. And I believe worked in there.
A lot's changed.
You knew nothing about nothing.
That's right. I didn't know anything about cooking, certainly.
And they made you a prep cook.
Well, assistant manager.
Head chef.
5-star chef.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. Is that what they call it? It's a head chef position?
Yeah, I think so.
What's a prep cook? Like a sous chef?
Prep cook is, it's below the sous chef. It's basically...
It's below.
It's bottom feeder of the cooks. So you're the one who does all the prep to get everything ready for dinner and stuff, but you're not necessarily doing the cooking on the line, and people don't necessarily have to eat your food.
So mom must have been really proud of you at that point in time then.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You're the bottom feeder of the cooking world. Wow. Good for you.
Yeah,
No,
but
it's
I
good.
made more than $4.10 an hour.
Everyone made more than $4.10 an hour. Yeah.
What about you, Spence?
I think, well, if I really think back, I think my first job was like strawberry picking. Mom used to send us out in the summer.
Yeah. And corn detasseling.
Yeah, we'd like hop a bus at like 5 a.m. and be like driven out to somewhere past Simcoe.
What kind of parents were that? Think about that for a second.
It was cheaper
What do
to
you mean?
pay for.
What kind of parents? What do you mean?
Well, they let us go to, how old were we? 12?
Yeah, probably 12
Let
or
us
13.
get on let us meet in a dark parking lot at 5 in the morning, get on a bus and
drive for 3 hours and then be working in the fields like either the first one was strawberry picking for sure. I remember having to fill up each of the little individual quart baskets, and then they had 8 of them in this big flat that you then had to overfill.
Yeah.
And you brought it in after like 3 hours of work.
You got $1.20.
Yeah, I don't even
Yeah.
think that's like 50 cents or something. I think
For
at
a
the
flat.
end, I think at the end of the day, we would come back on the bus, and I think I maybe had $3.50, and then the bus would always stop at a variety store and say, "Okay, everyone who wants to get some candy."
You would blow all your money.
Yeah, I came home every day with
empty-handed.
nothing. I had some gum and a freezy or something.
You know what? Thinking about making that kind of money. I'm just wondering, did you go chicken catching with me?
That was just you.
No, that was just you.
Oh, you guys didn't do that?
That's the worst dirty job ever.
That's a really
Yeah.
bad job. I mean, for those of you that haven't done that, I mean, you basically are standing in chicken dung for several hours. It smells like
Ammonia.
Chicken dung?
Yep.
Yeah.
Chicken
Smells
dung.
like chicken dung.
Yes.
What does chicken dung smell like?
It smells like ammonia.
Okay.
And you basically tromp around in it, grabbing 6 or 7 chickens at a time by their feet, and they're all like scratching you.
You had gloves on, I remember though, right?
Oh yeah, gloves.
Yeah.
But I used to have to leave my clothes outside the house because when I would get home,
You reeked.
you reeked so bad that Mom wouldn't let me come in the house.
So you made fun of A&W and how I smelled there, but you had chicken dung on your clothes.
Yeah, but in fairness, we did get free chocolate bars, so it kind of made up for it.
Free chocolate bars from
Yeah.
chicken catching?
Yeah.
Is that how they paid you?
No, they would give you free. You'd get a break, and they would give you a pop of choice and a chocolate bar of choice, and that was just part of the freebies that you got while you were making your minimum wage.
And knowing Chad, that's why he did the job, because he got a free
I
chocolate bar.
did it for the free chocolate bar.
Wow.
That's right. Well, and A&W wasn't hiring at the time, so
Hey,
you had
well-
filled all the positions,
well,
Wade.
I don't know if you remember this, Chad, but I graduated to becoming the A&W root bear. I put on the costume.
What?
Oh, yeah. And I walked around the mall in that costume.
I don't recall that.
And talk about chicks hanging off me then. I was very popular
You were
with...
seriously walking around the mall with a root beer costume
I was
on?
the root bear, yeah.
Wow.
Ba-dum, boom, ba-dum, ba-dum. I was
my
wearing that
God.
bear costume. Yeah.
That's a new low even for
I
you,
must
Wade.
have blocked that from my memory because I don't remember that. But
It was very
I
traumatic.
don't know if I would share that
You
anymore.
just really wanted that job.
Well, it's
didn't
too
you?
late now. I shared
Yeah.
it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't remember that you did that.
Yeah, I did.
But similarly, I remember having the job as Papa Smurf in the. Do you remember that?
I do not remember that.
When I was going to Banting, I had a job and I used to have to put on a Papa Smurf costume, and I walked around the mall, and I don't know what the occasion
Sherwood
was.
Forest Mall?
Sherwood Forest Mall. Yeah.
Papa Smurf?
Yes, I had a Papa Smurf outfit, and I don't know what it was for, but I got paid to do it. And I used to what? Why is that funny?
You made fun of me. You were Papa Smurf?
I'd rather be Papa Smurf than a can of root beer.
I wasn't a can of root beer. I was the root bear. I was the bear.
Root beer. Sorry, I thought you were saying you were root beer.
with an accent. Root bear. It's like a French root bear.
French root beer.
French root bear. No, it was the bear. It was the big bear. Yeah, which is far better than Papa Smurf, I might add.
I'm thinking I'm gonna just change directions and think about specifically when you and I worked together, Spence, at Honey Huckers. I'm sure you remember very well because myself and a buddy of mine at the time were both cooks, and you were the dishwasher, and we would do everything possible to not give you any of the dirty pots and stuff. We would burn the crap out of pots. We would do anything we could, and then at the very last minute, when you were like all cleaned up, we just bring in like a giant cart
Yeah.
filled with dishes.
That is love right
so
there.
that you would have to wash them, and you were like, "Come on, man!"
It was brutal. That was like one of my first. I think it was my
That
first
was your
job.
first career job.
No, that wasn't my first career job, but it was the first one in a restaurant. And I remember, like, I don't even know why I picked the job. I hate doing dishes, and I thought, hey, maybe I'll be a dishwasher at a restaurant that's washing 50 times the amount of dishes I would have washed at home. But yeah, not one of my brightest moments. But yeah, you guys made it horrible. It was already the worst job ever. And then you, being the typical big brother, thought it would be hilarious that I'd be cleaning all the stainless steel counters. Everything was like all shiny. Like I think I'm done for the night. I'm like, okay, dishes are done. I'm looking around, and then you and Lindsay would come in like, oh, got some more, and like just start piling. And then next thing you know, like all the counter space was just covered with big bins.
I'm not gonna lie, like that was really one of the highlights of my career.
You were going to quit that job probably months ago, and you're like, you know what?
That was too much fun bringing Spence all
I'm
the
going to stick
dishes.
it out a few more months and longer so I can just torment my brother.
I had offered him a job at A&W, and he turned it down because he
was enjoying all the
wanted
dishes.
to enjoy
Yeah, I
abusing
believe
you.
it. I believe it.
I don't know if you guys remember. This is not really related to the job specifically, but that Lindsay who you mentioned, remember he just had this thing about burning everybody, and I don't know if you were ever part of that, but
No.
he would just do stuff like just pulling the fryer basket out and turn sideways, and he would just catch me and go, "Oh, sorry," and it would hurt.
He liked burning people.
He did. He thought it was funny, and so I remember the guy that I can't remember his name now, but we were working side by side, and he kept telling him, "Do not do that to me. It's not funny." And Lindsay thought it was really funny, so he took a pair of long handled tongs, and he stuck them just put them end down into the fryer and just held them there for a minute. And then he pulled them out, and when Lindsay was looking the other way, he turned around and he clamped them on his forearm, and Lindsay just screamed at the dog. What are you doing?
Lindsay screamed. The other guy
Lindsay screamed. Well, why would the other guy scream? Think about that, Wade.
Sorry, I got lost in the story there.
Sorry, was it that complicated?
It was, yeah.
The other guy, we'll call him Brent because I can't remember what his name was, but he took the tongs in there,
Gotcha.
and then he clamped them onto Lindsay's arm, and Lindsay never burned anybody after that. That's sort of unrelated story, but it was just remembering because that was at Honey Hookers.
So Lindsay got burned.
He did get burned, but he did a lot of the burning originally. So
Yeah. I think my first career job, I think I was probably 17. I knew I had my license and I couldn't afford a car. And so I started scouring the want ads to find any jobs that were offering company cars. And
And how old were you?
Yeah, like 17.
Yeah.
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 And I just thought, I can probably get hired and get a company vehicle, and then now I got a ride. And so I went into this. It was a sales job, but it was selling meat out of the back of like this minivan.
I remember that, because I sold maybe for the same company.
It may have been. I can't remember what the company was called.
Was it just meat, or was it also
Everything.
seafood?
Yeah,
It was seafood, yeah. I remember-
seafood and
yeah.
Lobsters
It was-
and crabs
you
and
had, like,
stuff, right?
Cartons of orange roughy and
Yeah.
and pork tenderloins and things like that.
Well, who doesn't want to buy meat and fish out of a truck?
Absolutely.
The whole thing was such a scam too. It's really about, sell to all your friends and family
Yes.
and aunts and uncles. And then when that's done, they just fire you and they find someone else to hire, which is probably when they hired Chad. And you realize
that's right.
I've already sold to all of our aunts and
Yeah,
uncles.
unfortunately, I worked for months and I couldn't get anybody to buy anything because you had stocked their freezers already.
But I'll never forget it. For the interview, I went in and there was like, I don't know, probably 10 people in this, waiting room to have this interview.
All wanting company vehicles.
Yeah. Well, they were all older. They were all like, back then, I don't know, they were probably in their 20s or 30s. Like they were considerably older than I was. I'm sure I looked so out of place. But I, went in with my best suit on, like I was going to be the best salesman they ever
Big
had.
shooter.
Yeah.
Big shooter.
And I remember they called me in for my interview, and I went in and I'm talking to this guy and he's explaining the job, and then he asked me why I thought I was the right candidate. And I remember, I said to him, and I don't even know where this came from, but it just kind of rolled out of my mouth. And I just said, well, I got to be honest. I think I'm going to be your best salesperson here. I think I'm natural. I could sell ice cubes to Eskimos, to be quite honest.
Oh, I think I remember this story.
Yeah.
Now. Yeah.
And then the guy he deadpanned me right in the face.
He got really serious on you.
He did.
Yeah.
And he goes, I'm part Inuit. And as soon as he said that, I just immediately said, you want to buy some ice cubes? And I just as fast as he said it, I came back with that response, and he just busted out laughing, and he hired me on the spot.
That's an awesome story.
Yeah.
It is funny.
And that was my meat selling career that lasted. I think I had the van for maybe 6 weeks, and then I had no one else to sell to. I remember even hanging out at malls trying to stop people as they're going to the mall, like, hey, do you need any tenderloin or any oil? And I was looking at me like, who is this kid?
So you guys make fun of me for not having girlfriends because I worked at A&W, but you were selling meat out of a truck.
Mm-hmm. Well, I made a heck of a lot more than $4 an hour, I can tell you that.
Did you ever take someone on a date using your meat truck?
I did not.
No, well, I can imagine not.
Speaking of trucks, though, Wade, I can remember specifically a job that you had where you were having a problem with a truck.
Yes, and I will get into that, but I want to start somewhere else in that story.
Okay.
So I was working for a pool company.
Yes.
Putting in in-ground pools for a summer.
Yeah, employee of the month.
Employee of the month. So my very first day in the job, and I don't know, I think I was 18 years old, something like that. I remember we went to the job site, and they had a big cement truck there, and we had wheelbarrows, and we had to basically all just line up onto the chute, and they were dropping concrete in the wheelbarrow, and we had to then move that over to.
You know this
remember
story.
this story?
Well, I could picture Wade, weighing at that time probably 85 pounds, and he's carrying an 85-pound load of concrete.
Tiny. I was tiny.
It was like the equivalent of seeing a pair of matchsticks.
I was
carrying a wheelbarrow.
My arms shaking. I was tiny, so I remember we had to fill up the wheelbarrow and then wheel it over to the area that we were making the deck or whatever it was we were building. I can't remember what it was, but the pool was filled with water at that point in time because they were done the pool part. They dropped the concrete in my wheelbarrow, and I go to pick it up, and I start to move, and I'm like, oh, because as you said, it weighed more than I weighed, and I dumped the entire wheelbarrow full of concrete into the pool that was already done, and it just sunk down the bottom
with fresh, clean water.
Yeah, and I remember just being like, oh. And I worked they were all German guys, and they started yelling at me, and I was like so embarrassed. And then for whatever reason, the very next day, they moved me to landscaping section of that pool company, and I was no longer allowed to be on the pool construction site.
I can't imagine why they would would pull you off of pools.
Is that when you were driving
was that your first day?
It was my first day that I did that. So then they moved me to landscaping, and I actually did really well there, like building retaining walls and that kind of stuff. And I actually managed my own crew for a period of time.
They were desperate.
I thought it was a big deal back then. But my very last day in the job doing landscaping, they used to send me out to pick up sod in Strathroy. So I would drive this, it was like a converted dump truck, but just a flatbed on the back.
Is that like the one that had the big wood sides on it kind of thing?
There were no sides on this thing.
Just like an actual flatbed?
Flatbed, no tie downs, nothing. It was just drive out to Strathroy. I'd be wearing my tank top and shorts and probably no socks and some kind of running shoes.
You probably needed an AZ license, and they just put you in this truck. You have no idea what you're doing.
Did you even have a license?
I did have a license, but certainly not a truck driving license. And I would drive out to Strathroy, pick up sod. And I remember they loaded this thing with sod, didn't tie it down, and then I'm driving back to London. And the whole time I'm driving, I'm checking the rear view to see if the sod's moving, and it's tilting back and forth. And then I'm driving down, I think it was Bowler Road, and there were ducks crossing the road to go to Springbank Park, and I didn't see them.
The brakes.
And it was a nice, hot, sunny day, dry day. But I remember the person in front, I looked in the mirror to check the sod, and I looked back to the road in front of me, and the woman in front of me had stopped dead to let the ducks cross the road. And I was like, oh my God. And I remember putting the brakes on, and it was like I was on ice. The truck just kept sliding because it was so heavy with this load.
Yeah.
And I could see her eyes in the rearview mirror getting bigger and bigger and bigger. and I hit her with this truck full of sod on
You
my
hit the
last
lady?
day. I did. I ran into her car.
Oh, okay.
And
I
then
thought you meant you ran into a lady.
No.
And then they finally fired you at that point?
And that,
Okay.
no, that was my last day in the job, so they couldn't fire
wow.
me. But again, the German guys came out and yelled at me, and I was like, "Oh my god!" I just felt like such a loser. Anyway, that was my experience with the pool company. It was actually a good job. Like I worked hard. Like I was covered in dirt every day, so I actually gained a bit of muscle that summer, Spence. And
He went from 55 to 56 pounds.
look, Chad, I've told you a million times. Stop exaggerating.
Sorry, 58 pounds.
It was like 85 pounds to 87 pounds in the summer.
Oh my God.
But it was pure muscle, 2 pounds of
Yes.
pure muscle.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But your forearms were like jacked, like from doing all the
I had really
flipping
big forearms, but nothing else going on. Yeah.
Wow.
And Chad, you worked for Stop and Go Video at one point, right?
Yeah, you were talking, Spence, about taking cars or jobs because you got company cars. That's exactly why I took that job, because they gave you like a brand new Chevy Sprint.
Ooh, a brand
Powerhouse.
new
0 to
Chevy
60 in
Sprint.
Listen, this was
14.8
not
seconds.
14 minutes.
This was not any ordinary stock model car. All 3 cylinders humming at a $120.
Yeah.
But no, we remember we were driving around. We used to drive all over the Ontario, dropping
That's
movies
when
up.
I remember you had to go rent videos from like a corner store, and
That's
you were
exactly-
the guys
yeah,
supplying all those
that's
videos.
right. So you'd come in with all the new releases and like,
Yeah.
check out this, we got this one coming in. This
You
is
used to
the-
have to shrink wrap your own. Like I remember you shrink wrapping your own movies, and I used
did.
to help you do that with a blow dryer and the plastic sheeting.
Yeah, we used to have to take the movies out of the packages and then put styrofoam inside the box,
Right.
shrink wrap it all together, and then that would sit up in the display
Right.
thing that you had. It was actually not a bad job, honestly. You got a full-time car, you traveled around, nobody really bothered you. You just kind of did your thing.
Could you really call it a car though, Chad, that you were driving? It was kind of like a go-kart.
I didn't have a car, so
Actually, yeah. So it was good.
for me it was good. It was a car, yeah, and I kept it full time. So, and they paid for all my fuel. I didn't have to pay for any personal gas, nothing.
How did they even make any money at that business when you figure what they're paying for you and the cost of a vehicle and fuel, and you're just driving around dropping off movies that they're renting for $2.99 a night?
I don't really know how they made a lot of money, and certainly once I crashed the car, they did not make any money.
You crashed the car?
Yeah, you don't remember that? It wasn't really actually my fault, but I was driving down Hyde Park, and there was a guy driving on the wrong side of the road in a Purelator truck. And
Shout out to Purelator.
yes,
Yeah, not
sorry.
UPS,
Correct,
Purelator.
It was definitely not UPS. And he kind of lost control, and he came over into my lane, and I had to swerve to avoid being a head-on collision on the highway. And I rolled into a farmer's field and rolled it 3 times.
Wow.
Yeah, and like you, Wade, I did not get fired, surprisingly.
How many videos did you lose that day?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, the car was upside down. Literally, there was videos all over the car.
Chad's covered in shrink
Yeah.
wrap.
Yeah.
And they didn't fire you. You got a new car the next day or something?
Yeah, it was probably a Pontiac Firefly.
That's right. Yeah, I got upgraded to a used Firefly. Still 3 cylinders.
Here, Chad, here's a moped. It goes a little faster than the Chevy Sprint.
That's right. No, I think I think what happened was I had to work in the office. Well, they sorted out another car for me, and I just did all the shrink wrapping and stuff like that.
Sounds riveting. Doing that all day long.
How long did you work for that company for?
I don't know, probably a little more than a year or something like that. But
Chad's the reason that Blockbuster went out of business.
Yes.
He was selling so many videos to the corner store.
that's right, black market.
Now,
videos.
if I recall, in your Chevy Sprint,
Yep.
weren't you driving on a country road somewhere and you came over the crest of the hill and there were like a bunch of starlings or sparrows on the road and you like
Yes.
you crushed them all in the Chevy Sprint?
I mean, I can't say I crushed them all, but I did some damage. Well, when you're driving, you're in the country, and you just you come up over a hill.
well, because you're going to $120 in the country in a Chevy Sprint.
It's possible that I
Yeah,
was right.
yeah.
The whine of the engine did not scare off the birds, and yeah, I just remember coming up over this big hill, and I came down over the hill, and I just saw there had to be like 500 birds all in the middle of the road there, and all you hear is all banging off the bottom of the car.
Wow.
Yeah, but
So we've had quite the diverse collection of jobs that got us into the workforce. I don't know if that helped us. I guess it kind of showed
Well,
us what we didn't want to do.
I think it does help.
I think it made me who I am today. Right?
Yeah, you know what? As much as we make fun of A&W and fast food places, I think everyone should do a job like that because
Yeah.
it teaches you work ethic because you
Honestly,
work
yeah.
hard.
I agree. I will say that although I've never had a job at, say, McDonald's, I think they probably have one of the best training programs out there. And they do teach you responsibility and what to do and how to do it. And there's protocol. When you get a job working just for like a ma and pa kind of place, it's very haphazardly put together. There's really no rules. They just make it up as you go and you just sort of figure your way out. But in a place like that, you do get some structure.
Yeah, which is probably good.
Yeah, I learned a lot. I think
Yeah.
I just learned how to work hard. And as you said, I learned what I didn't want to do for a living.
Yeah.
It makes you want to go back to school.
Didn't want to be team lead.
No. Well, I would have made $4.60 an hour if I was team lead, maybe.
Sure.
But
Well,
anyway, it's been a fun ride. But now, of course, we're all getting close to retirement. So
there's a whole other chapter which Chad will tell us all about in future episodes, I'm sure.
Retiring and really it's that money from Stop and Go Video that is allowing me to retire as we speak.
isn't that the money you got from your claim from the accident? Is that
That's right. Just constantly rolling Chevy Sprints, into the cornfields.
that's right?
I don't know. You didn't really have any other weird jobs or anything, Spence, that I can remember.
I worked at like Top Value at the gas station, if you remember that.
I do remember that with that guy like
Toady.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do remember.
How do you
Tony
remember
Giovanni.
that?
I do remember that.
He was a
name.
funny guy, actually. He was the first one that got us into, I think it was a Christmas time, and he got us into a bar in London. It was Notorieties, actually.
I remember that place.
He knew all the bartenders. He was like, this.
He's like a celebrity.
He was, actually. He went to the bars all the time. And
Wasn't that bar called The Note? Was it sure?
Yeah.
The Note.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
okay.
no, everybody called Notes.
Yeah.
Notes.
Where was that?
right on Richmond.
Yeah, right on Richmond Street.
Yeah. But he got us in there, and we were all like, I think 16. I don't even think I was driving then, or maybe I just had my license. So 16-year-old in a bar.
He was driving his meat truck.
Yeah.
And
You should have got a job at Stop and Go Video. You would
I
have had
know,
a car.
I could have. But that was actually my first drink. I had a flaming lip lock, which was basically just like
You sure that was a drink?
it was Zambuca. They lit the Zambuca on fire.
Who was
and
this Toady?
Don't. It's very painful. No, and for Christmas, and I remember, we all did this shot, and I didn't know you're supposed to blow it out. And I was one of those guys you see on the internet now that do it and then throw on fire like. But I had all this fire down me, and
So your lips were quite locked because they were burned.
I
did burn
Did you
my-
actually burn yourself?
I did. I burnt all my lip on the shot
Wow.
glass. Yeah.
Wow.
But I remember I was so
Good
hammered,
times.
and I took the bus home like completely shit faced from
At
our
16.
Christmas party. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Thanks, Toady.
You also worked at Gifford's.
Yeah,
Gifford's
Yeah, we don't want to
supermarket.
tell what happened over there. when you were
Gifford's
working.
Farm Market. Yeah.
Gifford's Farm
You
Market.
certainly didn't want to come in and do groceries when you were the cashier. That's
No,
for
it was
sure.
great. Yeah, I remember the funny thing about that job. I can't remember the guy's name, but I befriended the guy at the meat counter, and he smoked Player's Plain.
Okay.
I didn't know that. And so he'd always come up and buy smokes. And because I was the cashier, I was always like, you know what, just take them. It's good. And so then he would say, we had this deal where I just threw him smokes and never charged him. I just like, doot, 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 and then clear. And then he would just walk away with the cigarettes. And then he said like, hey, anytime you want steaks, I'll hook you up. And then I remember my dad coming in.
Yeah.
He used to come in like every Saturday, and I'd tell the guy at the meat counter, oh, my dad's coming by. And he'd give my dad all these, like tenderloins, and he'd, do something on the meat counter.
I lost you there. Where was he? He was from the meat counter?
Yeah.
Okay, so
And he gave your dad. What about our dad? Just
my dad.
Just your dad.
Yeah, it was just my dad.
Okay.
And he would, put like it was, whatever, I don't know, ground beef or something. So it was like $2.85.
Right.
And
Instead
dad
of
had
tenderloin.
like 10 tenderloins that he was leaving. So yeah, thanks for the lesson, Dad. Like I'm right in there, stealing the steaks. But yeah, so Dad, we ate very well that summer I worked at Gifford's.
And he smoked a lot, that guy.
I only
yeah.
wish I'd been living on my own. My grocery bill would
Yeah.
have been amazing.
Yeah.
Weird.
Anyway, guys,
on that note,
this has been a kind of a fun walk down memory lane with
Yeah.
jobs. Yeah.
Nothing you want to add, Wade?
Well,
Do you miss A&W?
do you want
I've-
fries with that?
I think, yeah, you need a teen, need a fry.
Yeah.
I mean, one last job I guess I can talk about because it's kind of a funny story. But when I graduated, my first, I'll call it my first real career job.
Sure.
I was a rec director for a very small hamlet,
Oh, I think I remember this story.
little place called Union in Sparta, and they had the Union Sports Club, and it's a community center, and all it is an empty building like a Legion kind of hall. And they told me that that's where I was going to work out of. That's going to be my workspace. And they take me there, and I walk in, open the door, and it's just this empty hall. Like there's chairs stacked up and old wooden tables.
Hello,
it's like hello, nothing in there. And I remember thinking, like, do I have a desk or anything? And they said, well, you have to go buy it. So I had to go buy my own desk and put it in the corner of this community center. And it's 1990, no computer. So I'm sitting at this little desk in this community center. It's kind of a funny job. But I remember doing
You did a presentation. I remember.
I did because I was the rec guy, so I did this healthy living presentation to the members of community of Union in Sparta.
Right.
So I'm up there presenting and I'm talking about smoking cessation, like quitting smoking and living a healthy life. And I get like 3/4 of the way through, and they're not like I'm very engaged in my presentation. And someone walks up and goes, Wade, they're all tobacco farmers. Oh, that explains it. So I'm telling you.
You were trying to convince them to not
Telling
why
the
you should quit
tobacco
smoking?
farmers why they should be quitting smoking. It didn't go over so well. Probably not my
I can't believe that.
probably not my
Why-
finest
why,
moment.
Why would that work out, Spencer? Weird.
Anyway, that's
Good
all
thing
I
you did
got.
your research, I guess, before you did your presentation.
Yes. There's a term. It's called know your audience. Wade.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Know your audience. Oh well, it was fun. It's a fun job. I did it for about I don't know 3-4 years.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of a big guy in that little small town.
Yeah, well, no, you're on a plaque there. I think
I was
saw.
I was a big deal.
Yeah.
Just ask me, I'll tell you.
He was on a plaque that said "Do not hire,
Yeah.
rehire."
If you see this man, report it to your local police.
Well, that was fun. Reliving some of those jobs.
It
Yeah.
was.
That was fun. I enjoyed that.
I'm sure they shaped us in some way, shape, or form.
Absolutely.
They have to. They have to. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
We learned how to get free steak at Gifford's.
Well, Dad learned that. Yeah. I was just the accomplice. But yeah. So on that note, I guess we'll see you guys next week,
Yeah.
and we'll talk
Let's,
about the next topic.
Yeah. Do you want to tell us what that is?
No, we don't know what it is.
I don't know what it is.
We really just fly off the cuff, don't we?
Yeah.
I can tell you this though.
What?
It's going to be good.
Fantastic. I like it.
Okay.
Again,
Ciao.
thanks for joining us, everybody. Join us next week on ProBROknow, the podcast.
Ciao.
Goodbye.